Hello, my name's John Blythe from Official Xbox Magazine, and I recently went to Ubisoft Montreal to have a chat with Dan Hay, the producer of Far Cry 3. But you don't have to take my word for it, here's a video of it.
So just to tell us a little bit about Jason, you say that you want the game to be a realistic one,
yes.
But he is a tourist who we have seen behaving like a soldier. So how does that transition come about?
I think it's about, in order to make it credible, you want to bring somebody who comes to the island, and Jason comes to the island, he's backpacking through Asia with his friends. And what happens is that he arrives there, he's got a pretty good beat on life, pretty much understands what's fair, understands who he is. And then he walks into a room and he meets a boss. And his world is effectively shattered. Boss turns him into an immediate victim, takes his friends, puts him in a cage, and Jason just barely manages to escape. And so when we meet Jason, we see the Jason who's been alone in the jungle for a little while, who's been crying for mom, who's effectively had to learn, who's had to eat some pretty untenable things, who's had to survive some pretty ugly situations. And now we meet him a couple weeks later, maybe even a month later, and he's a different guy, right? He's made his first couple of kills, and then he's picked up a weapon now, and at first it was sloppy, and now he's starting to get good at it. He's starting to get a taste for it. And so when we meet him now, we meet Jason, who has transformed a little. He's learned sort of the way of the warrior, and now he's headed for Voss for payback.
You're doing interesting things with the performance capture, and I like the story that you told about how you got that original
from Voss
mad performance from Voss. Can you just tell that story?
For us, it was really tricky because we went in and we were absolutely confident what we wanted. We want Voss to be this. We want him to be this guy. And we began to do it. It was well written. It was well rehearsed. We had a great actor. We had good chemistry between everybody, but there was something missing. And we couldn't figure out what it was. It just felt safe. And we kept saying to the actor, okay, yeah, but show us a little bit more. Show us a little bit of the darkness inside. Show us what you got inside. And we do it, and it was still safe. It didn't feel insane. We said, okay, look, let's turn the cameras off. If you could get away with murder, how would you do it? Show us that person. And I think it was the end of the day, and they were tired, and they basically said, okay, fine, here. And what came out in a very, very aggressive and kind of a weird way was Voss. Meanwhile, we hadn't turned the cameras off, and we made sure that we were mocapping everything, and we got that lightning strike. We met Voss, he showed up. And the trick for us now is duplicating that in a different way, showing the different facets of insanity. So you have Voss, and he's completely insane, and he has his own personality. And then you have the doctor, you have something different. And then you have other characters. You have some of Jason's friends, who once they've been through the island for a bit, have their own brand of insanity. The trick is pulling that out of each situation and each actor.
Yeah, it's sort of interesting that everyone on the island is insane. Would it be much of a spoiler to say, is there a drug on the island? What's going on there?
I think what we did is we looked for a place that was remote. Pick a place that doesn't have any rules. It's a lawless frontier. And we say, okay, what are the people like who grew up there? What are the circumstances that we can imagine happen in the history? What are the blood feuds going on? And we keep it simple. We keep it so that it's about stuff that you can relate to. We all have brothers or sisters or family members who drive us a little bit crazy, and there's feuds going on, and you draw from that so that the player can understand the emotions that they're having, and the player can understand the emotions of the people who are on the island. You add to that the lawless nature, you put in a nice measure of weapons, you turn up the heat to 100 degrees, and there you are.
When a game feels as different as Far Cry 3 does to Far Cry 2, you kind of wonder what is the seed that you've carried across? What is the Far Cry thing for you? What's sort of the experience?
Well, we get that question a lot. What's the DNA of Far Cry? Yeah. And for us, I think it's the moment in time, right? We figured out this recipe of going down a rabbit hole. In each case, you take a relatively normal person and you try and put them in an abnormal circumstance, off the map. And for us, it's that moment in time. There's not a larger thing that we're trying to do from the standpoint of we're trying to solve a world mystery. You're trapped in a moment in time, and the question is, can you survive? It's not about a huge adventure from the standpoint of surviving a geopolitical disaster. It's about, can you survive the next 5 minutes? That's Far Cry.
If you like that and you'd like to read some more about it, then it's all in issue 88 of OXM, which is out now.
You are me.